Welcome back. Well, today's book is about a boy named Isaiah. And Isaiah is a boy who loves his family and often worries about them. And those worries sit in his mind and never go away. Let's read and find out what happens. Isaiah and the Worry Pack, written by Ruth Goring, with illustrations by Pamela C. Rice. Ruth grew up in a missionary family in Colombia, South America. And she wanted to be a poet and an author-illustrator of children's picture books when she grew up. But a lot of life had to happen to her before those dreams could come true. She worked for many years as an editor, and now finally is a poet and an author. Pamela grew up surrounded by creative art and design. Her father was a commercial artist and was hired as one of Hallmark's first Black artists. She has worked for over 30 years in advertising, graphic design, and visual communications, and in 2015 started illustrating children's books. It was bedtime, but the wind slammed its fists on Isaiah's window as if it wanted to burst in and chase away his sleepiness. He ate the last 2 sections of his tangerine and went to the bathroom to brush his teeth. The last few nights, Isaiah had been having a hard time getting to sleep. When his mother came in for bedtime prayers, he said, "Mom, this is going to be another bad night. Can I bring a blanket downstairs and sleep on your floor?" "Scoot over and let's talk about it," Mom said. "When I can't sleep, it's usually because I'm thinking about things that bother me or things that I'm afraid might not work out the way I want. My brain is worrying. Can you think of anything that's worrying you?" Isaiah shook his head. "I'm just worried about having insomnia," he said. He knew that when you can't sleep, it's called insomnia, and he thought that was a really ugly word. "Just take a little while and see if anything comes to mind." Mom's voice was low. "When I'm worried, it helps if I can tell someone." As Isaiah listened to his mother breathing slowly beside him, a picture suddenly came up in his mind. Her face, and there was a line between her eyes. "You, Mom," he said. "Well, I mean, whether you can make enough money to pay the rent and the other bills." Mom worked every day at the desk downstairs, but Isaiah knew she didn't make much money. What if there wasn't enough to pay the rent? Would she and Isaiah and his sister Elisa have to leave their house and live in a tent in the park? Mom gave him a quick hug. "It's scary sometimes, isn't it?" she said. "Okay. Are you thinking of any other worries?" The next picture, like a movie playing in Isaiah's mind, was of his father, who lived far away. "I worry about Dad," Isaiah said softly, "that he won't do very well living by himself." Yes, Mom seemed to understand. Then Isaiah pictured Elisa, who was 14. She had been challenging Mom's rules a lot. "Well, Of course, it bothers me when you and Eliza have arguments, and I wish I could make them stop. You have such a soft heart, Mom said. Mom hugged him again. When the people you love have problems, you pick them up and try to carry them. Then you worry and have trouble sleeping. Mom smiled at Isaiah. Let's try making up a story together. I'll start it and you can finish it. Isaiah closed his eyes, pulled the covers up to his chin, and listened. In our town, there's a boy named Isaiah. Isaiah is a kind boy who loves his family and often worries about them. His worries sit in his mind like big, heavy blocks and never go away. One day, Isaiah picks up the blocks. They are very heavy, but finally he manages to fit them all into his green backpack. Then he gives a big heave and lifts the pack, pulls the strap over his shoulders, and sets off through the woods. Okay, Mom said. Tell me about the things you feel and see in the woods. Isaiah thought a little. He had a good imagination. Well, my pack is really hard to carry. It's heavy. I keep walking and see some animals. They aren't afraid of me. There's a sparrow. There's a squirrel. There's a deer and her fawn. I stand there for a long time just petting the fawn. Lovely, whispered Mom. I feel like I'm there with you. Say you come to an open field now, and Jesus is standing at the other side of it. What happens then? Oh, wow! I didn't know I would see Jesus here. I'm yelling and running towards him, and we give each other a bear hug. Do you talk? Mom asked. Yes. He asks what I have in my backpack. What? I forgot I was wearing it. I pull it off and zip it open. Oh, this is weird, Mom. The big worry blocks aren't there anymore. There's just 4 little wrinkled things down at the bottom, kind of like peach pits. Isaiah stopped talking for a little while. Even though he was telling the story, he was surprised. Then Jesus picks up my worries. You were very worried, weren't you? I just nod. I can hardly talk. Can I take care of these for you? He asks. I say, okay, you can have them. What a relief, Mom said. But then, what does Jesus do with them? Well, I guess he just turns around and kind of throws them away. Not like they're trash, but see, he's a really good shot, and he just tosses them carefully, one at a time, out toward the edge of the field. Wow! Mom sounded surprised too. How does that make you feel? And what do you talk about next? I feel happy. Then Jesus tells me that he saw me in the woods. He says, you love animals, don't you? Yes, I want to be a vet when I grow up. Then I tell him about Maya, how she likes to knock over her dish and dump her food down the basement stairs, and how she made friends with Samson. Jesus knows about all kinds of animals, so I ask him to tell me. We talk about land animals and insects and about fishes and sea creatures. We keep talking until finally I look across the field and see something strange. What are those little trees? They weren't here when we sat down. Mom sat up suddenly. Wait, how many are there? 4 of them, Mom. Jesus looks happy. These trees grew from your worries, Isaiah. I know you love fruit. So there's an apple tree, a peach tree, a pear tree, and a tangerine tree. Soon you can come back here with your friends and pick as much as you want. I asked him, even the tangerines? Because of course I know there are no tangerine trees in this part of the world. Jesus smiles and looks at the 4 little trees. Yep, even the tangerines, he says. The end. Well, that was interesting, wasn't it? Well, what Isaiah and his mom were doing is called guided imagery, which is a fancy way of saying how to sit and think and share your thoughts with Jesus. So how would we do this? Just like Isaiah and his mom did. Now let's think about, where would we like to walk? Would it be on the beach, in a forest, in a park? And then we think about, what are those things that are bothering us that we'd like to share with Jesus? And we can even pretend like Isaiah that they're blocks or bricks and pick them up and put them in that backpack and walk on the way. And then we can imagine Jesus coming up to us and giving those blocks to Jesus, right? Now, if we don't hear Jesus talking to us when we do it, that's okay. Just sitting with Jesus is enough sometimes to be quiet. And, remember that giving our cares and worries to Jesus doesn't magically solve our problems, but it helps to go and share them with him, trusting that, God will meet each of us in just the way we need. Remember, in the Bible, the book of Philippians says, do not worry about anything, but in everything, by prayer and with thanksgiving, let your requests be known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all our understanding, will guard our hearts and minds in Jesus. Amen, right? See you next week.